A new build was cooked up last night that honestly sims very well and has a lot of potential for Havoc M+. In this video, we're going to go over it. So you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. And I'm going to tell you, but before I do have a few people to shout out. So first, shout out to TXT from the Havoc Discord for first posting about this. Shout out to Fiesta for helping come up with the name. And then shout out to Deez and Shiro and a few other people for helping to test it. More testing needs to be done still. I'm going to actually put a Google Doc form in the description here for you guys to submit logs. So if you end up using this build in keys, please log it and submit those logs, the links to those logs in that form so we can get more data on this. This build is very fresh, very hot off the presses. The boys were cooking last night, so we'll see what the results are. So without further ado, I will show you the build. We'll talk about it. So this is the Spread Eagle build, as it's called. It's called Spread Eagle because of this little part right here. Looks a bit like some guy who fell on his face. So Spread Eagle is the name that's stuck. So what's the idea, Hill? Well, the idea is that it sims well in raid bots. So I'll throw up the sims. We were doing a bunch of sims. It sims higher, about 10k higher than the regular left-right enemies necessary Soul Rend build. In Dungeon Slice and in Patchwork, multiple target counts, varying pull size, varying pull timer. So really, this is very, very new. We don't know if this is just an artifact of simming or if this could actually be a good thing. But performance has been at least average to what you'd expect it to be. It's nothing crazy right now, but this build is a little bit more complex. It takes a little bit getting used to. There's a lot going on. So the build itself here, we get into Felfire Heart to drop down into the bottom part of the tree here. This is a one capstone build. So you're not taking any of the glaive stuff. You're not taking any Shattered Destiny, Cycle of Hatred. You're just taking Essence Break, and then you're grabbing things like Ragefire, Glaive Tempest, Part of the Flame, Inner Demon, and Restless Hunter. So what this ends up giving you is a lot of tools from really big burst damage. You have your Inner Demon. With your burst, Inner Demon does a lot of AoE. It's uncapped. You have Restless Hunter buffing your Blade Dance, buffing your Death Sweep. During that, you have Ragefire and Immolation Aura buffs. Now, these aren't as strong because we don't have enemies necessary, but overall, if you add up Ragefire and Immolation Aura, it adds up to about roughly what you'd expect from Eye-Beam. And then, of course, we have Glaive Tempest as just a really, really solid AoE damage dealing tool. The thing with this build is that it is very different. You do have to tab target your Burning Wounds on, and I'll get to that whenever we talk about it. But this is the basic build. The idea here is that a lot of your Fury is going to come down from Blind Fury, as well as just Sigil of Flame, Immolation Aura, and Fellblade. Because we're not taking Burning Hatred or Demonic Appetite, you can feel like you're starved sometimes. To that effect, I've decided to take Disrupting Fury to help us out a little bit with interrupts. You can, of course, get rid of that and take Unleash Power as well for more stuns. That's up to you. I've decided to try out Disrupting Fury for now. You also maybe want to... You could potentially drop Bouncing Glaives as well for something, because you're not really using your Glaives too much. This build is kind of crazy. It's very, very different. There's a lot going on. You do have to keep track of your Restless Hunter combo. With Essence Break, there's Momentum, there's Glaive Tempest, there's Ragefire, there's Inner Demon. There's a lot here, but the sims are promising. Very, very promising. So it's worthwhile to test. So if enough people could get their hands on this, test it out in keys, and drop those links in the little form I put below, then we can try to gather some data on this and figure out if this build is really real or not. But the tests we've had so far, for people who haven't really practiced too much with the build, have been at least that it's viable. It's doing, it's not doing terrible damage, still doing pretty good. So we'll see where this takes us. That's kind of the talk about the Spread Eagle talents. There is a slight variation to the build where you can drop Looks Can Kill for Cycle of Hatred. This is the Pyramid version of the build due to this, or Illuminati, if you will. This build version simmed much better at like really high target counts with high crit. But overall, it was a little bit worse than the Spread Eagle. But you could see that taking over it if crit gains a lot. So this is the talent. I'll drop the import in the bottom. I'll drop the import for Pyramid too, why not? But I would recommend doing Spread Eagle instead of Pyramid. And we'll go over into the rotation. I'll give you guys a little bit of a primer on it. And then you guys can go out there in the world, spread the Spread Eagle around, and try and get us some data on this new build. Before we get to that, though, of course, if you enjoy the video, drop a sub. We're pushing up towards 4,000 subscribers, and it would be crazy to hit that number. Also, leave a like on the video and drop a comment as well. It really helps me out. It really helps push the video to more people. With that, enjoy the rest of the video. All right, so here we are at the target dummies in Valdrakken. Now, I will say, we don't really want to use glaives in this build, so I hope you guys are ready to tab target your Burning Wounds. If you're very lazy, you can set up your glaives once at the start of pull. Otherwise, you don't really want to be using that. It's not really conducive to doing the most damage for us. So really, you should be tab targeting while you're doing rotation. Thankfully, it's not like Shadowlands where you have to tab target constantly. You only need to keep up 3. So as long as you have your 3 dots going, then you'll be in a good spot. This build has a lot going on for it, though. Basically, you're taking the complexities of the other rotation with Inner Demon and Restless Hunter, and throwing the complexities of Momentum with Ragefire. So the important things are, while you're in combat, to be tabbing your targets around so that you can spread your auto attacks, spread your Burning Wound via auto attacks. It's important to use your Glaive Tempest before you enter your window. Of course, your Hunt as well. And then use your I-Beam, Annihilation, Vengeful Retreat, Essence Break, Death Sweep meta, and Death Sweep. You guys know the drill by now for that if you've played this in single target. But on top of that, you need to be keeping up your Momentum. You need to be keeping up your Glaive Tempest. You need to be tab targeting everything around to all the target dummies, and making sure that you're really spreading your Booming Runes around. I don't have a tracker weak at the moment, but it's something that can be very valuable probably to you. Also, I didn't use my trinket, but that's neither here nor there. The issues with this build is that you end up having a pretty substantial amount of burst. However, outside of that, your fear generation is fairly lower, right? You don't have a lot of the other tools that the other builds have with Burning Hatred, Relentless Onslaught, not Relentless Onslaught, sorry, the one where souls give it to you. But a lot of your fury is supposed to come from this Burning Hatred window here. And that's kind of the big build here. You're just using your builders and spenders. You're using tab targeting your Burning Wound around. You're making sure you're using Glaive Tempest, making sure you're using Death Sweep, Blade Dance, and all that stuff. And just keeping up basically all the buttons as they come off cooldown and making sure you tab target. It's not too complex, not too hard, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. It is quite different from the previous iterations we've had, a little bit more similar to maybe our Shadowlands iteration of the class with how we're tab targeting Burning Wound around. So if that was a big fan favorite part of Demon Hunter for you, then you're excited it's back. But otherwise, you don't really want to be using your glaives to spread it around unless you're basically right on pull. The build itself, though, not too complex. Again, start off with your puzzle box, hunt in, spread your Burning Wounds around by tab targeting, keep your momentum up, then just go into your Essence Break window here. A lot of your damage will come from I-Beam, a lot of your damage will come from the Essence Break combo, Inner Demon, Restless Hunter, a little bit of Ragefire damage as well. So you do have a lot of varying sources of damage here. You're just not using Cycle of Hatred or Shattered Destiny and stuff like that. So your I-Beam is going to line up every time, your Vengeful Retreat should line up every time. So that complexity is taken out, but in exchange, you are having to tab target to keep up Burning Wound. That's really the only hard part. If you can make sure you're doing that properly, and then on top of that, keeping up with your basics of Havoc, doing your fundamentals like Momentum, like keeping your Ragefire on for the last few ticks, doing your Essence Break combo, then you shouldn't find it too hard to get the most value out of this build. But again, we need more data on this new build. We need data so we can figure out if this build is good or if it's bad. We've had mixed opinions on it so far, but it does sim very well. Again, it's sim for like 119k, 120k. So the ability and option for it to do well is there. We just have to see if it actually can hold up in actual content or if it's just something to do with sims. So that's basically it for the build. I've shown you guys how to play it a little bit. It's basically just both builds of Havoc Demon Hunter smashed together into one. You just drop the glaives out, pick up your Restless Hunter, pick up your Inner Demon, Glaive Tempest, and then just make sure you're playing your Ragefire and Essence Break build properly there. Now, if you're taking Disrupting Fury, then you'll have a little bit more Fury in combat. Otherwise, you can take stuff like Unleash Power or stuff like Misery and Defeat, like I've said, potentially even dropping out Bouncing Glaives if you really feel the need to do that, to pick up maybe both. But that is totally up to you. Again, play with it, figure it out, get back to us. We need data to figure out if this is real or not, so that we can figure out if this build could potentially be good. So with that, I'm going to end the video on the Spread Eagle build. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, shout out to the people at Demon Hunter Discord for coming up with this build, well, helping me and the others coming up with this build. This is a bit of a collaborative project. But if you have success with this, again, please link logs into the Google form I'm going to put down below. Would really help me out, help us out in getting some data here. But otherwise, with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, drop a comment as well, and sub if you enjoyed it. We're getting closer to 4,000 subscribers, so that would really help me out. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace, soar high with Spread Eagle.